I'm telling you, there's a huge possibility we are going to see a silver explosion that Andrew and I have been talking about before Thanksgiving. Today, as we speak, we're at the 19th. There's a very big possibility we're going to see something trigger potentially this Friday, the 21st, which is then going to set the stage for an explosion next week on silver and gold. We're going to have, I believe, a Black Friday, but most likely a Black Monday right ahead of us here. Okay, so it's going to be really ugly in the financial sector. It's going to be scary as heck. It's just going to plunge. Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Wednesday, the 19th, and I have Andrew Sorchini back with us today, and we need to talk about silver and gold because silver looks like it's put in a massive floor at $50. So it went through $50, and now it looks like $50 is the support on 50, which means that if it's support, the only way it's going, the only direction it's going is up from 50. So, Andrew, welcome back to the show. And what are your thoughts on silver and gold?
I just think one word comes to mind: resiliency. Silver has been resilient, and I love it because it's typically when silver gets to this level that it gets really pushed down quite a bit. I mean, we did see it go under $47 an ounce, I guess about 10 to 14 days ago. It came back pretty quickly. It's trying its best to get to that $54 range. If we can hit that again, that's how we see the big 6-0.
I got the charts pulled up here in front of me, and honestly, you're right. It went up on the 11th into the 12th of November through $50, and now it's been holding above $50 for an entire week already, which is pretty spectacular. How it had a floor eventually at $25. Eventually, when it went through 30, how 30 became a floor, right? And then finally 40, which was in September, it finally went through $40. And in 1 month, it literally shot up to $50. And now what I'm seeing personally on the patterns and on cycles is 50 itself is a floor now, just like $25 was a floor for like 2 years straight when Andrew and I were doing podcasts. So that said, if we are basing a floor here at the $50 range, the only direction that silver can really go from this point is up. And right now, silver itself is supported at $50, and this is key. So in history, typically we would see silver go downwards with the stock market, okay? And what's it doing? It's not. See, that's the interesting part right now. The stock market's been falling for about a week. Bitcoin's getting hammered, okay? So Bitcoin's getting destroyed on the downside right now. So Bitcoin tends to move with the stock market. And historically, silver would normally move with the stock market too. And for the first time, it's decoupling. So what are your thoughts on that as well, Andrew? We've seen the markets going down, but silver's not. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think the key thing is that we're seeing uncertainty. There are people out there that have invested in stocks like Palantir and Nvidia, or even AMD, or any of Facebook. So the Meta stock was almost $800 a share, and now it's broke below 600. So when you're investing in stocks like this and you see your account go up, 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 you start to feel like you know what you're doing. But really, you just picked a hot stock that just happens to be moving in the direction that you want it to move. It's when it starts to correct, like it is now, especially with the AI stocks, which have corrected big time, probably more than 15% just in the last 10 days or so. That's when it starts to become a scary situation, and they always move into the safe havens. So right now, gold and silver are a really safe place to go. And let's not forget about Bitcoin. You called it last time we were on last week. Bitcoin had broke below $100 for one Bitcoin, and now it's below $90 for a Bitcoin. And you say it can go as low as 70. So I think that's driving a lot of investors back into precious metals.
The point on that is how Bitcoin tends to and has historically moved with the stock markets. And now what we've seen literally is for the past 5 trading days, the stock markets are collapsing. Okay, so 5 days straight down the stock market, and Bitcoin's coming right along with it. Okay, so they tend to move really closely together. Bitcoin tends to lead sometimes it follows. But right now, the issue that we've got here, well, not for us because we're in precious metals, but the issue that the world has right now, those invested in the markets, it's going to get crazy to the downside. Okay, it's about to have a horrible, horrible day. It's coming, and the markets are starting to accelerate to the downside. And Andrew, when the markets plunge to the downside, the stock market historically, go back all these years, and you've been in the markets for a long time. Every time the markets crash to the downside, what's the one thing that the governments do and have done every single time, like clockwork, on a stock market collapse? When the markets crash, every single time, they do one thing, and historically, that's all they can do: create more money out of thin air. As I call it, print, baby, print. And so a market event is coming where the markets are going to plunge, and the reaction is going to be print, baby, print. And when they print money like lunatics out of thin air, what does it do with gold and silver, Andrew?
They blast off. That's the second punch of the 1-2 punch you're talking about.
That's right. That's right. So that's about to happen. Okay. So we're going to have, I believe, a Black Friday, but most likely a Black Monday right ahead of us here. Okay. So it's going to be really ugly in the financial sector. It's going to be scary as heck. It's just going to plunge. And again, this is what the cycles are indicating. And after that, their only alternative is they're going to prop the markets back up again, because that's what they always do. They create money out of thin air. We've talked about it. They're going to create money like lunatics, like they did. Look what happened in was it March of 2020? The markets collapsed 38%. And what did they do? Created $7 or $8 trillion over the weekend, stick it back in the stock market, and everything's fixed. Okay. But that also embarked what? Bitcoin, and specifically silver and gold, embarked on a huge bull market run. Okay, so we're about to see a similar type and shadow of what happened in 2020. That's why this is so exciting. So we've got a massive floor at silver at $50. It's moving up as the markets are going down, and there's going to be a historic plunge on the stock market. They're going to create money out of thin air. And man, when you look at what happened to silver and gold, because that's specifically when I put in that big order with you in 2020 when we bought silver at $17, and all it was up and away from that point on. So the same thing's about to manifest. They're going to create money out of thin air, and man, is a moonshot coming on silver and gold. We are so close to this move. So I just want to tell people, fasten your seatbelts. Andrew and I have been talking about a historic move to the upside in silver. We're seeing the markets now fall for 5 days consecutive, and silver is available still, Andrew. Can you get it?
It is. Actually, I was hoping that we could touch on this. It's so there have been times over the past few months, okay, where I've had just an enormous amount of silver in the inventory. And I start telling the sales staff, I go, okay, here we've got a lot of 100-ounce silver bars. Let's work on getting those down a little bit lower. All right, we've got too many silver eagles. Let's run those down a little bit. And now I look at everything and I go, geez, why was I working so hard to run them all down? Now they're all run down, and I'm having a hard time trying to build up the inventory on each one. And I've actually met with some of the wholesalers and some of the other people that own precious metals companies, and they're like, yeah, we're finally starting to see some of the silver assets start to become difficult to get a hold of. One of them was the Silver Eagles. That was the first one, and it always is the first one. And the premiums went up pretty good there for a little bit, and then there must have been an influx into the market because the premiums did come down a little bit. but I'm seeing sealed boxes. The sealed monster boxes are very tough to get, but you can go out and buy 10,000 Silver Eagles if you want, but typically you can't in this market, you can't get the sealed boxes of the Silver Eagles. So then we just move to other things. 100-ounce silver bars are just fine. You can, there's people are buying the 90% silver, the junk silver, Morgan dollars, peace dollars. We're doing a lot of that stuff right now. But I am seeing periods of time, like for a while there, a couple of weeks, I couldn't get any Morgan and peace dollars because there was too many large deals coming in for those. And I've not seen that happen since like 2010. So it's the herd is coming. We talk about this every time we're on, Bo, but the herd is not here yet. When that
Yeah.
happens, then that's when everything is going to dry up as far as the physical silver and gold market.
If you've got silver, congratulations. You know, you've been a wise steward. You've listened to what Andrew and I personally have been doing, and I think you're in a very good situation. If you haven't bought silver, it's sad because you really don't understand history. History's for 5,000 years, silver and gold have been money. Okay, just because the financial elite that run the world tell you that gold's a rock, they tell you don't need silver. Understand that, you know, their only agenda is to keep you in the financial system of creating money out of thin air. And we've talked about this before. Those who buy precious metals from Andrew, or if you're going to put in an order, you know, the first thing you do, you go to the bank and they're going to try to stop you to sending the wire. Okay, why? They want to keep you in Babylon's financial system. And what is Babylon's financial system? It's a debt-based system. Think about this, okay? If they're creating money out of thin air, they're creating debt instruments, okay? Well, who are they borrowing it from? They're not. They're creating out of thin air. Like if I borrowed $100 from Andrew, I got to pay him back. So they don't care if the stock market crashes because they're going to create more money, stick it back in the stock market, and everything's fixed. But at some point, the world's going to realize this whole thing's a fraud. And I'm telling you, we're starting to see cracks, and you know they're fighting tooth and nail to not let some of this information come out. You know, I think we all know what we're talking about with these files. Okay, they're not letting information come out because they don't want you to find out what they've been doing behind the scenes. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, you know, Andrew and I have been talking about, you know, honest money, and anybody who's listened or done what we've done is in a great situation right now. Now, if you don't have any precious metals, I'm telling you, history says you're going to be proven wrong. History says that, you know, every money created by man ultimately in time goes to zero. This is just the longest experiment. Okay, so it's over 100 years. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Okay, silver and gold been around 5,000 years. So we're stepping into a time, and I'll say this, you know, when you're studying scriptures, in scripture, it says, you know, you plant seed, you wait time, and then you wait, because what are you waiting for? You're waiting for the harvest. You're waiting for the harvest. If God's going to move and do something, I'm telling you, there's a huge possibility we are going to see the silver explosion that Andrew and I have been talking about before Thanksgiving. Okay. Thanksgiving's the 27th, Thursday next week. Today, as we speak, we're at the 19th. There's a very big possibility we're going to see something trigger potentially this Friday, the 21st, which is then going to set the stage for an explosion next week on silver and gold. And when silver and gold explode, okay, Andrew can verify what we saw happen just last 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when silver took out $50, when it started racing towards $54, okay? What was happening around much of the world? Massive lines at coin shops trying to get silver and gold. We've seen historically, Andrew and I have talked about this, every time there's financial calamities, the last metal to go is silver, and then go to the upside. And then what it does always do, it creates financial Armageddon. It literally does. People line up like crazy. Bank runs begin. It gets crazy. We've seen it specifically when I was a kid in 1980, January. We've seen it in 2011, and we just saw it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Talk about history and what happens on these bull runs, Andrew, when silver, the world starts to wake up. Oh my gosh, I need some silver, I need some gold. But really, the answer is they're going to start, the last one that causes all the bank runs are silver. So
Yeah.
talk about history, Andrew, and why it's so important that you can still right now call up Andrew or a gold dealer, a silver dealer, and actually get still right now. That's a blessing because people always say, hey, is it too late to buy silver? You know when it's too late? When you call up Andrew or a gold dealer and say, hey, I would like to buy some silver. You know what the answer is going to be? We don't have any. Because this happens. That's why it's called a precious metal. Okay. That's going to happen. And I honestly believe we're going to see that this month start yet before Thanksgiving. That's how much time we've got left. Andrew, talk about bull runs with silver and how important it is.
Oh yeah. So earlier on this interview, I actually pulled out my phone and started searching. I have something that shows the silver price history by week. So earlier you mentioned that silver just blew past $50 and went straight to 54. Well, it made me think about how long were we in the $40 range? So in the week ending August 31st, silver closed at $39.73 for 1 ounce. It broke $50 on the week of October 12th. So literally 6 weeks. No, 6 weeks. It took 6 weeks for silver to go from under $40 to over 40. That's how quick it could happen. So when we see these events start to happen and start to unfold, we could blow past $60 in a very similar way. We could get to 65 or even 70 in just a matter of weeks. It could be less. I know, Bo, you've actually charted out scenarios where it could happen in a single day. But for me, being a little bit conservative,
Yeah.
I'm looking at this. There's no lie, and you can actually check this out. It's right on USA Gold. You can check out the silver prices. I'm looking at them by week. I can set it up by day. But this is 6 weeks. It went from under $40 to over $50. That's unbelievable. And it's not the first time I've seen it. It's just the last time I saw it was about 15 years ago. And then earlier this year, it blew through the 30s. We started off this year at $28 and change. It blew through the 30s. It just didn't blow through it in 6 weeks. It took a little longer than that, but when it happens fast.
You make a great point because if you talk acceleration, think about this, right? So since it went to above $50, I got the week calendar on it and I go 1, 2, 3, 4. This is week 5, which means the 6th week is next week, which is interesting because what did I just say? Watch next week. So the 6th week is next week, and I'm still looking at $70 silver before Thanksgiving. So I'm telling you, something's about to happen. We've talked about Andrew, we kind of jokingly call it a beach day because, Andrew lives in California. And if you can't sell or can't work, you might as well go to the beach, so we call it a beach day. But it's not so much about Andrew. It's literally about every coin dealer. Okay. Because like if silver explodes $70, okay, the first thing that all the coin dealers are going to do, including Andrew, are shut their doors. Why? Because we've never seen that before. We've never seen silver go $20 in a single day. Okay. And that's just a warm up. But when that happens, the first question is going to hit everybody, all the gold dealers, the sellers, and the ones that Andrew buys from. Okay. They're going to like, well, what's going to happen tomorrow? So they don't know. And because they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, it becomes this like super scary thing because it could destroy you if you bought something and it plunges the next day, or it skyrockets the next day. So the dealers are just going to sit on their hands and just wait. And they're just going to wait to see what happens until the dust settles. And then they'll open the doors back up. But when they open the doors back up, we'll probably what's called gap up. You might see silver open up at $70, $80, $100. And that's the new price. That's just the new price. And again, this is and if they have the markets plunge on that, they're going to create money out of thin air, and everyone's going to realize, wait a second, they're just creating money out of thin air. They're going to realize Caesar, what's that saying? Caesar's got no clothes, right? Which means that they realize like the things, it's like they're lying to you. And the immediate thing that everybody goes to when you realize there's financial chaos going on, what is it? It's always what people have reverted to for 3, 4, 5,000 years. It's always the go-to, gold and silver. And so silver and gold become the go-to for protection. What do we call protection? An insurance policy. What have we always said silver and gold are? They're an insurance policy against governments who basically think they can create money out of thin air to infinity and forever. And the problem is forever is a really long time. And right now, we've seen a lot in the past 5 years, money printing like we've never seen before. It's been incredible, the amount of money that they've been making out of thin air. So I'm still surprised, but I'm actually very happy because we've been doing what we do. People have been listening. I went to a conference. Andrew's gone to conferences, and all we hear is thank you for pointing us in the right direction. That's all we hear because everyone's been on the right side of this. They've been on the correct side of history, and we haven't even seen the massive explosion that we're still waiting for. That's the exciting part. And so I'm very excited still when I talk to Andrew, and he still says, yeah, we still have inventory. That's so awesome because you could still call Andrew today and get inventory because when this event goes down, the only answer is close your doors and wait for the dust to settle and see where the price settles at because that's going to happen. Okay. This is going to be historic what's about to go down. The prophets have spoken. Okay. It's not an opinion. Okay. God has spoken through his prophets, whether you believe or not. I don't care because I know what the prophetic word is. And God's about to move. He's about to move and change the financial system as we know it. And why? Because if God doesn't intervene, these guys are not going to stop. They're going to keep creating money forever. Forever. They're never going to stop. Okay. So we need a biblical intervention. The prophets have spoken. God's going to intervene. I know particularly Andrew speaks with quite a few prophets. He goes on their shows. And what's the key word they're always referencing? Two words you keep hearing: wealth transfer, wealth transfer, wealth transfer. Andrew, what does that mean to you when you hear somebody say wealth transfer?
For me, a transfer of wealth is something that happens in an economy where like literally an event is created to send wealth to a certain group that understands what's happening. I believe that that's what is happening here. And you talk about some of the prophets. There's one person that sometimes I go on another show right after he finishes. And someone had sent me a video where this will sound familiar to you, Bo. He went on there and he said, and this is a few weeks back. He goes, silver's going to shoot right to $50, and then when it hits 50, it's going to probably drop a little bit below because that's manipulation that's happening. And he says, I want everybody out there to know that what's happening is biblical. He said that it's biblical and that there's going to be reparations. And he said that it's a certain amount of times over, like you always do, Bo. And he was talking about Jubilee. And I go, this is somebody that's come up with the same thing that you've been talking about for like 2 or 3 years. Somebody completely unrelated to the people that you and I have in common. And that's in addition to a whole slew of people. Now we're past $50 and there's no one out there saying, silver is never going to be anything. Just get rid of the silver that you have. It's never going to hit $100. Nobody's saying that. No one will say that. It's definitely headed there. And I saw another interview recently where someone said that if everybody in the world were to invest in gold, okay, that if 1% of everyone in the world were to invest into gold, that it would just immediately drive the price up to $15,000 an ounce. And I really believe that. And I always say what's good for gold is great for silver. So the question is, where would silver be if gold were to hit 15,000? If you were to multiply it by 4 from where it's at now, that'd be pretty close to $100 or $200 an ounce. I think it should be between 200 and 250. So it's certainly worth the leap of faith to invest in some gold and silver and just wait for everything to unfold.
Okay, what it is just it's a second witness. So like if there's someone saying something and there's no one else witnessing that, like repeating it in their own way, then it's like probably someone's making something up. Okay. But if we talk about something as an example, and then you go on another show and someone else is saying a similar type thing, and you go on another third show and someone else is talking wealth transfer, and then a fourth show, someone else talking wealth transfer. And these people don't talk. there's a point I'm trying to make is it's a commonality that God is using people to explain what's coming. That's the point of what prophecy is. It's faith, the substance of things unseen. Okay, so we haven't seen $50. Actually, we've never seen $50 ever, silver, ever. But what did Andrew and I say? Silver is easily, and it will go to $50 and it will break $50. It's never done that ever in history. And what was that? Was faith. And those who listened, and we were proven correct. It's not about being right. It's about telling people, what's coming. And faith said, because prophecy said, silver is going to go above $50. And prophecy fulfilled. How cool is that? And then prophecy continued because the Lord showed me on the patterns as well. It's going to then back off. Well, prophecy also said it's going to back off, and it did. And now we're back up again over $50. I'm telling you, it's not going to keep backing off, okay? It's got a floor now at about $50. And the only when it has a floor, it means that it's going to keep bouncing off of it, and at some point it's just going to take off. And when it takes off, it's never going to look back. So again, I'm so happy that Andrew can still, that, when you call Andrew or any other dealer, but at some point, the phone call you're going to make is, you know what, I've been thinking about it. You finally make the phone call and they say, sorry, we don't have any. That is coming because that's happened with every single bull market in history. Or they say, come on over, we'll see what somebody brings in. You might have one or two pieces, but your inventory dwindles to such degree that you're literally buying just little scraps. That's all that remains most of the time because we've talked about that. So again, inventory is available. If people want to get gold and silver, I'm telling you, these are biblical days. We are at harvest. Harvest is next week. Something's about to blow. I truly believe this Friday, the 21st, is going to be very important, causing silver to jump, but that's only an exciting start to an explosion that is still expected before Thanksgiving. Now, will it play out this way? Doesn't matter. We're still on the correct side of history. We will be on the correct side of history because December is still here, and then next year, Trump has spoken about a golden age. Everything we're looking at is pointing to silver and gold going up, 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 and away. With all that said, Andrew, so if people want to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you? And then, what would you recommend in terms of giving them some guidance on buying precious metals? I think a lot of people also have those investment accounts, the 401ks and the IRAs. Maybe you can mention that too. But just give people some guidance and anything else you want to add, Andrew, please go ahead.
Yeah, that's really great. Thank you. So people should reach out to us on our website. There's a form where you can fill out your name, email address, phone number, and say that Bo Polny sent you or Gold Forecast 2020, and be as detailed as you can in the notes. So what we're seeing a lot now are people that are saying, hey, I've got a retirement account or an old 401k for a company that I don't work at anymore, and it's not doing anything. I want to find out if that qualifies to be rolled over into a precious metals IRA. And most of them do. So at least reach out and find out. We're not going to bully you here into making a decision. We're going to give you the information necessary to make an educated decision. And if you need time to consult with your family or pray about it, we definitely respect that. So we're not going to make you feel bad and try to really push too hard to get you to do it on the same day. Also, watch out for some of the other companies out there that some of them, like one in particular, is offering a 10% bonus. Like if you spend $100,000 or if you invest $100,000 into silver, they'll say, well, we'll give you $10,000 in free silver. There's no free silver. We're not working on that kind of margin. If you think about it, if you did $100,000 worth of silver and they're giving you 10,000 of it for free, then that means that their break-even point would be a 10% markup. So they've got to pay for the lights. They've got to pay for whoever they're advertising with. They have to pay for the salesperson. The company itself has to make money. It would have their markup would have to be somewhere in around 30% for them to be able to give you 10% of silver for free. So if that's what another company is offering, then that's what's happening. And you should go to companies like mine, and there's a slew of others out there as well, that will give you the best price first. There's no gimmicks. We're not going to offer you any free coins. Also, some of the other companies have a buyback policy that is just so outrageous. I'd never seen it up until this year. We're seeing a lot of liquidations this year because people have more than doubled their money in the last 4 years. So it's natural that some people, depending on where you're at in your life, you might want to liquidate some of what you have, in some cases all, and take a profit. It's happened a lot. So some of the companies out there make you sign an agreement that you cannot sell back for 3 years. And if you pay a certain price, which might be higher, then you can sell back after 1 year. I mean, this is outrageous. I mean,
Wow.
for me, we're a company that buys and sells gold and silver. It doesn't matter where you bought it from, whether it's from us or from another company. Offer it to us, and we'll give you a bid. It's if you buy from us and want to sell it back tomorrow, or a week from now, or a month, or a year, or whatever it is, we'll always buy it back. We don't have to tell people there's a guarantee of buying back. We need inventory all the time. Even we have a lot of inventory. We're constantly buying and we're constantly selling. So to me, I think it makes sense to educate people out there that there's no free gold and silver, and you should not let a company dictate when you can sell back your metals. You don't have you don't have a crystal ball in front of you. You don't know if somebody in your family is going to get sick, if your home is going to burn down, like we've had here in California. Things happen where you have a need, where you might have to sell your precious metals. We get that. So it's a two-way market here. And those are some things that I think are some real gems that could really help people choose correctly. We hope you choose us, but there are other good companies out there, but not all companies are created equal.
Wow. I never thought about that actually. That's wild because well, you're first off, you're right. There's no free silver or gold. Okay, so that I've known that's a scam forever. Okay, because let's just keep this simple, like $10,000. Someone's going to spend $10,000 and buy silver. Okay, it costs the dealer maybe 9,500 to buy that. Okay, and then he's got to keep the lights on and pay the bills. So where's the free silver coming from? There is no free silver unless he charges you 15,000 for it, right? Now he's got a $5,000 markup that he can give you some free silver. I'm telling you, the sad thing about the silver and gold market, and I've been seeing this for years, and it really, in a deep down kind of, it's upsetting because people don't go to school to learn about gold and silver. In school, they teach you nothing about gold and silver. Okay, there's financial classes, and they teach you all about the numbers, all the finance, but they'll never teach you about ounces of silver, how to buy, where to buy, how to sell. There's no education on that in school. So majority, like huge, massive chunk of the population has no clue. So there's a huge opportunity to take advantage of people. And that's what these dealers in the gold industry are doing. I have seen this for years and years. It's so sad that they go to a gold dealer and they're buying a story on these silver or gold coins, huge markups on these things. And it's so sad that, and people listen because they think, well, the dealer's telling me this, it must be true. But again, the truth of the matter is it's the simplicity of all this is, Andrew, is you look at the spot price of what it's being, literally a global spot price. There's one price for silver right now across the entire globe. Whatever that spot price is, whatever you pay above it, you should verify with other dealers that it's relatively fair and you're good to go. But if you're paying like double of a spot price or triple, you're getting ripped off because you could buy 3 coins if you're paying triple, instead of buying the story. So I guess that's a great thing you brought up, Andrew, because people will sometimes pay 3 times or more, whatever, just an example, 3 times more for an ounce of silver. So it's like right now, they might pay $150 for an ounce of silver because it's got a great story behind it. But to me, I could have bought 3 ounces of silver with that price. You see what I'm saying? So I agree. I'm glad you brought that up, Andrew, because it's very sad. But the world is very corrupt, and just like you and I will sit on the phone, and the phone, we're working, but our phone rings 4 or 5 times a day with people scamming you, trying to sell you something. There's a lot of that going on in the world right now. So I appreciate you bringing that up. So in closing, Andrew, anything else you want to wrap up here before we go?
It's not too late. The premiums are still relatively low, and the supply is there. So reach out while you can get a quick delivery. And if you reach out later, that's fine too. But it makes more sense to get in at a better price today, get your coins shipped to you quicker than you will when the herd comes. Come in before the herd.
Yeah, because the herd is coming. Thanksgiving's almost here. Seed time and harvest. So God bless everybody. Thank you, Andrew, for being here, and enjoy the ride, because I think we're very close to something big about to happen here. So thank you, Andrew. Have a blessed day.
Beverly Hills Precious Metals Exchange is a client-focused firm devoted to assisting our clients with precious metals. Our clients range from first-time to serious coin collectors and investors seeking to add precious metals to their investment portfolios. We are not interested in volatile investments, leveraged products, and intangible assets. With rising inflation and the devaluing of the dollar hurting middle-class families, investing in gold and silver ensures protection for your hard-earned money. Save the value of your money today by investing in gold and silver at Beverly Hills Precious Metals.